In this video, we're going to take a look at making a request to the Catalog IQ API. Specifically, we're going to look at making a request to the products endpoint. We are on the Lighting API spec right now. You can access this at /lighting/API-docs or from the top left menu of the Catalog IQ homepage. First, you'll notice that we have our demo key, which allows us to authenticate for demonstration purposes. We'll use this demo key and authorize using the API key. We'll add the key to the value parameter and authorize. Once it's locked, we'll close this window, and we'll notice the little lock on the right-hand side of the endpoint is now authorized. To make a request from the documentation, we can click Try It Out. The demo key will always return 3 results in other endpoints. The offset parameter lets us know how many we want to offset from the beginning of our feed if we're looping by a limit. Sort parameter has vendor ID, template, default code, which is the SKU, as well as the name sort parameters. We can filter by name using a wildcard at the beginning or at the end. Template ID, we can search and filter by the template ID, bring up individual product resources, the category ID, and finally, we can filter by the variant's default code or the SKU number of the individual product. Every individual item will be assigned a SKU for products that use SKUs. At this time, we can hit execute, and we get our curl request that we can use in Postman or on the desktop, as well as the result set. And if we scroll down the result set, you'll notice that we have variants, which houses all the variant options. Each of the variants includes a variant axis attribute in the attributes array. This determines what attributes are variant and their values. Additionally, each variant attribute has a category, a field type, a unit, a description, and an optional image. You can use the category, the field type, and the unit to parse information when putting it into your system, or use it for reference in your end user systems. Now, to make a request using Postman, let's take a look at that. In Postman, we can use the OpenAPI spec to create the collection. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to our OpenAPI spec and copy this link address. If we open this link, you'll see that we have the raw OpenAPI spec. Now we can go in and create an API. Go create API. We can go to definition and import files. Here we'll paste the URL to our OpenAPI spec. The API spec was now imported into Postman, and you can see on the left-hand side we have our paths. We also have the parameters and the available responses. Alright, so our API is now ready inside of Postman. Let's go ahead and rename it. Now, back in the Catalog IQ API, we haven't added a collection yet, so let's go ahead and add a collection. We'll generate it from the existing definition. We'll leave the rest of the parameters as default. Catalog IQ collection is now available. If we go into the collection, we can see the products endpoint, and we can click on this. Now here's our request for the products endpoint. We still need to set an environment variable for our API key. So let's go back and copy our demo key. New variable for API key. Oops. And that API key is going to be our demo key. All right, so now we're all set. So we have our two variables for base URL and API key. In our collection, we have our authorization header set to the key of catalog IQ API key and the value of the API key variable. We're going to add this to the header. Again, all that's set up when we import the collection using the OpenAPI spec. And if we send the request, we get results for our products. Okay, so that's making requests for your Catalog IQ API endpoints. You can do so from the browser using the Swagger docs, or you can do so from Postman in the browser or on your desktop by importing the OpenAPI spec.